everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I have got such a bookish weekend planned this weekend, so I just thought it'd be really fun to film that for your eyes and ears. I've got book club today, I've got to go to the library tomorrow, I need to pick out my October TBR, which I thought we could do together. All sorts of fun bookish things I wanted to document and take you along with me for this weekend. I also just wanted to point out, this is kind of on a tangent, but I don't think the camera's picking up too much. I'm having a bit of a skin moment right now, especially this eye. I feel like you can tell. My skin has not been happy since we've made the transition into autumn, and sometimes I really don't want to pick up a camera. I don't want to show my face because I get a bit insecure about it, but do you know what? I am not the only girly that has skin problems, so if you've got any recommendations in the comments, please let me know. To be fair, I can be really lazy with my skincare sometimes. I know I need to get better at doing it really consistently. So yeah, I tried to put makeup on this morning and it just looked horrendous on my face, and I was like, I actually look worse with makeup on right now than I do without it. So I've kind of scrubbed it off. I've just put on a bit of mascara, but my skin at the moment is like, what the hell is going on? I just wanted to point that out. One, because I always feel like I have to, which is really silly because who cares in a way, like it's so unimportant. Also just because I wanted to put it out there that you don't have to be, you shouldn't feel like you have to hide something because it's like not conventionally good or pretty or acceptable, whatever, do you know what I mean? Anyway, as I say, I've got book club. I actually think, I don't know what the time is, but I've got my watch. Yeah, I need to leave literally in like half an hour for book club. I need to pack, obviously, the book that we're discussing, which this month is the Cinnamon Bookstore. I did not really like it. Like, it was absolutely mediocre. I didn't like actively hate it, but it was like I don't want to say a waste of time read, but like I definitely just could have gone without reading it, if that makes sense. So that's kind of sad. So I need to pack a few other books I've been reading or want to read, just so that we can talk about them, and think of some books for next month, because I think we're going to go down the fantasy route for October, like fantasy fall. So I need to think of a couple ideas to put into the hat of what I would like to read next month. I think I'm just going to come straight home after, so I don't think I need to bring anything else. Maybe just some snacks. We're going to go meet at a coffee shop, which is gorgeous, and they do the nicest flavours, and like they have so many different like syrups and things, so can't wait to have probably a pumpkin spice latte. But also if something else catches my eye, I'm absolutely going for it. But I am feeling so full right now. Like, I'll try and show you my outfit. Like, you're kidding. I'm gonna put some Ugg boots on and it's just gonna be the best vibe. But yeah, so like I say, I need to pack and get ready to see my girlies. I'm very excited. Did I just forget to film anything from book club? Yes, I did. So I'm just going to relay people's thoughts here because you guys didn't hear it, because I forgot to show you. General consensus: we didn't really love the Cinnamon Bun bookshop, which I was really happy about. I thought I was going to be the only one that kind of really didn't have the best time, but most people, even if they still liked it more than I did, they agreed with what I was saying. So I was like, okay, gorgeous. Sorry, I'm so out of breath. I just went to Tesco to really quickly run and grab lunch because they shut soon, and I also wanted to get a cafetiere, which I've never had before, but I've now got some like pumpkin spiced ground coffee, and I've tried to do ground coffee just like the normal kettle way, and it just does not dissolve and mix nicely. So cafetiere is the way to go, so I've heard. So I'm so excited to try that. Anyway, so yeah, book club was great. I'm having the best time there, but we also picked next month's read, which I've actually already read. I read it last year, but I'm so on the train to reread it, and none of the other girls have read it, and they have picked Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. So I think what I'm gonna do is do the audiobook. I'm so jealous of the girlies that can do like ×2 speed on audiobooks. My brain just won't register what's being said. It's too quick for me. However, since I've already read Fourth Wing and I feel like I just need a refresher, I'm thinking do the audiobook, listen to it on a bit of a quicker speed, because as long as I get the general consensus, it will probably jog my memory. I've also tabbed so much of the book because I loved it when I read it, so I'm going to go back through my hardback and just look at all the bits I've highlighted and yeah, jog my memory, because all I remember is I really loved it. I think I gave it like a 4-star, 4.25 star at the time, so It is the perfect time to read Fourth Wing as well, I feel like. Academia, fantasy, dragons, high stakes. Just October does feel like the right time. So I think I'm definitely going to go for that. I've got a month to do it. I think on Spotify it said the audiobook was like 22 hours or just under that to listen to. But if I'm listening to it on a quicker speed, I can listen to it like while I'm working on my own, which is quite a bit coming up actually because my colleague is on holiday, so I can just listen to it while I'm at work. Anyway, sorry that the beginning of this vlog has been a bit of a fail because I feel like this was I've been to book club now twice, but the first time I went was like a half and half situation because I was working, so I had to rush down after work, so I missed quite a lot of it, whereas this was like my first proper book club experience and I was just so excited that I forgot to get my camera out. Maybe I'll improve, maybe we'll do that again another time and I'll remember to film it. But anyway, I'm gonna drive home now. Figured once I go home, now that we've got the book club book as well that I need to add to my TBR, we can talk about my general October TBR. Go through my shelves, go through my TBR lists on like Goodreads and Fable and stuff and see what I'm fancying. It's gonna be spooky, it's gonna be creepy, and I love that. Best reading month ever. So now that I'm home, I thought it was time to take you through my October TBR. As we've established, I will be rereading this bad boy, which gets me excited because I did tab this. Like I said, when I read it, I loved it. So I actually started the audiobook already on the drive home from book club. So yeah, I am so excited to get back into this book. So that aside, what else am I thinking would be great to read for October? Well, immediately, and this could be my next read, I would love to read The Kiss Curse by Erin Sterling. I read The Ex-Hex, oh my god, years ago. I want to say like 2021. I loved it. It was the best vibe. Gilmore Girls meets just like Hocus Pocus maybe? No, it was just like a witchy Gilmore Girls. I was obsessed with it. So the fact that I haven't read the second one yet is baffling to me. But I'm going to get to it, especially since the third book in this standalone series is coming out, I think, literally within a matter of weeks. So this is definitely going to be one to go onto my TBR to break up some of the spooky books that I might be reading this month. Speaking of, I'm picking them up from the library tomorrow. So keep watching to see what they are. But what else am I thinking? These aren't all good. A lot of these might not be read, but they're just books that I'd love to get to if I can. So moving away from romance. Actually, no, there's one more on here that I do want to read that's romance, I think. Wait, there's two more. Oh god, we ain't getting to all these guys. Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mehra. I'm always scared I'm gonna get that wrong. This sounds like such a fun time, and since the second one has come out recently, I've just keep seeing it popping up on all of my feeds. And a girl falling in love with the devil? Is it the actual devil? I don't know, the villain. From what I can gather, she basically becomes his assistant just because she needs a job, and that's the job that kind of falls into her lap. But obviously there's a romance, and apparently it's just really fun, like ridiculous but fun and actually really well written, so definitely want to get to this in October as well. Right, then moving aside from the romance, fantasy, magical realism is what I'm primarily reading in October, I'm sure. First thing being Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I read this like 2 years ago, and I've kind of forgotten, like I haven't forgotten, obviously I know what it's about, I remember the kind of atmosphere and the vibes, but now that I've got the rest of the series on my shelves, I'm desperate to get to them. I've got to reread this because my memory's pretty hazy and I cannot wait. I read this, I think it was in August, but I was reading it, I just remember reading it late at night, and during that dusk period this really hit, so I think reading it on dark, fresh October nights is going to be perfect because a lot of this is set at night time. Then we've got The Serpent and the Wings of Night. This has been on my TBR for so long, but I feel like in the UK I've only recently had them traditionally published. Like I think they were probably quite hard to get your hands on prior when it was a hardback, but since becoming a paperback it's been a lot easier to find here. From what I can gather, I don't know that much about this book, but it's kind of giving Powerless by Lauren Roberts, of like a trial and a main character who doesn't possess powers, except the people that do possess powers are vampires. So that's why I feel like it's the perfect time to read that in October. And I love vampires in books, but I never read them. Like I never read vampire books, so this could be the time to read it. Anything else? Actually, there is one other book on my shelves I would love to get to. This I have read before. The Chamber of Secrets? No. The Goblet of Fire by Harry Potter. But This is not his autobiography. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire by J.K. Rowling. This is, as you can see, my gorgeous illustrated edition. I'm slowly collecting them. I've got the first 4, so the other 3 are down there. It's up to the 5th book, I believe. They've ceased publishing for now because the illustrator has stepped back. So I don't know if they've even found a replacement yet or if they've started on Harper Prints. No idea. But I tend to always read one of these every autumn, and Harry Potter will always just give the best autumnal vibes for me. So if I could get to this in October, that'd be great. It's not like a priority for me, but it just would be a bonus if I could get to this. So technically it's going to be a big month for rereads because I'll be rereading Fourth Wing, Caraval and this because I have already read the Harry Potter series many moons ago. But yeah, reading these is just such a special time and they're my prized possessions. I love them on my shelves. I know it's extra, they're not cheap, but these are just a different level of experiencing them. Like the illustrations in these books are unparalleled. I also forgot there is one other book that I'd love to get to in October. A lot of the girls had already read this or were reading it and were saying, hands down the best in the series so far. I loved Icebreaker. Like, I think so far Icebreaker is my favourite. I did enjoy Wildfire, but for some reason I just had the most unreal time reading Icebreaker. And if you were to ask me why, I couldn't tell you. Because it was just a 5-star rating just based off of vibe and fun. I had so much fun with Nate and Anastasia. I just ate that book up. But whilst that and Wildfire have seemed to be way more just of a fun time, atmospheric time, this I believe has got way more emotional depth in it, which I am so excited to read from Hannah Grace because from what I can gather, she's put a lot of herself into Henry. And so it's obviously very close to her heart, and I just feel like from what I've heard so far it could be very close to my heart. I feel like it's one of those books where you can feel really seen and validated as you feel represented in a character you're reading about. So I can't wait to get to this book. Hopefully we do have time to get to this in October as well. Yeah, I mean this is just my physical TBR. Who knows what other books I might end up picking up on my Kindle. Business Casual immediately comes to mind, and then I can finish the Love Like Farms series because that's the only book I haven't read yet, and obviously that is the book for autumn. Also maybe some other fantasies I want to get to, I can get to on Kindle. Throne of the Fallen came up in conversation today. I didn't realise how amazing that book sounds. One of the girlies was really selling it to me, so I think I'm going to have to bump that up my TBR, and again would be perfect for October anyway. But yes, so we will see if I manage to get to all these books, plus the one I'm picking up from the library tomorrow, and spoiler alert, it's a big book, so you gotta wish a girl luck, you've gotta wish her luck. Oh dear, we've done another epic fail tonight, guys. The bookish video is taking an odd turn. I've literally read 30 pages since I last spoke to you. I ended up watching TV for like an hour, that's fine. And then honestly, sat on my phone for a bit, the usual. And then I've just been sat chatting to Ben for like over an hour. And it's now 10:15. And I'm still just over 100 pages away from finishing this book. I'm pretty tired, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not feeling my most awake right now. So we'll see. We'll see how we go. Oopsie. Good morning everyone, it is the next day, it is Monday morning. The plan this morning was to head into my town. Like I said, I've got some books to pick up from the library. I also think I might scour the charity shops, see what books I might be able to find, because you just never know what you're going to find. Literally, I did this like a month ago. I went into the RSPCA charity shop that's local to me and I found The Finance Dilemma by Elena Armas for 50p. It had literally come out, I think, a month ago. And it was pristine. And it cost me 50 pence. Unreal. Like, so unreal. So I think I'll see what else I can find today. Pick whatever I fancy up. And yeah, also maybe just scour the library. I used to use the library religiously. Like, that was how I read all of my books pretty much last year. Was everything I read was borrowed from the library. And I started to figure out that actually you can get some banging deals on books. I decided to start collecting them because I thought, you know what, it's just so much more fun having these in my home to look at, to just peruse when I fancy. So I kind of stopped using the library unless it was for classics or just books that I was interested in but wasn't my usual go-to, or I just thought, oh, I really am intrigued to read this, but I'm not going to buy it because I'm not convinced that I'll love it. I'm just more intrigued than anything else, which is kind of today's situation, the things I'm picking up. But it's kind of sad that I don't use it as much anymore. And, you know, I like to have my physical books as like little trophies and collector's items, but again, I don't read all of my books physically. I have quite a few reads now on my Kindle, and as much as I would love to be a girly who buys the physical copy after reading it on Kindle if I loved it, I do not have the funds and priorities for that. Unfortunately, if I've read it on my Kindle and I loved it, it is highly likely that it will stay as a Kindle book, unless it was literally like a 6-star read for me. Then maybe I'd go out and purchase it, but I don't really do that. So yeah, so I feel like there's plenty of books that stay on my Kindle I don't possess physically. So like, why don't I just start borrowing more books from the library as well? So yeah, I mean, my local library unfortunately is so small compared to a lot of the libraries in Essex. The likelihood of finding a good book in there is slim, but you never know what hidden gems you're gonna find. So I mean, I'll have a look, I'll have a little peruse. But yeah, I mean, it's the perfect gloomy morning for it. However, I don't really fancy getting me and my tote bag wet, so I think I might just sit in the car for a little while and maybe finish reading Belladonna. I have like 40-50 pages left. I did read some of it this morning, but then I had a bit of I had to put it down because I had a bit of a freak out. Naturally, this book talks a lot about death. Death is a literal character in it, but something about me is I have this just existential crisis every time I think about death as a concept. I freak out. Like I start to like burn up and like get really hot, and like my breathing, and I don't know, it was just a part where it was really talking about just human life and how human life is so short, but that's what makes it so like beautiful and cherished. But I then started thinking about death a little bit too much, and I had to put it down because I was starting to freak out. So maybe I can finish it in the car whilst it's looking really gloomy out, because like I say, I think it's meant to stop raining soon. Like, it's not meant to be a glorious day, but if I could at least go out in town when it's not raining and it's a little less wet, then that would be fantastic. Maybe I can get this ready in like half an hour, and then we'll see where the weather's at. I don't actually know what the time is. I think it's like maybe 10:30 or something. I'm very excited to see what I find in my library and local charity shop soon. So obviously now that I'm back, I'm going to show you guys what I picked up. You would have probably seen from my library clip, the book that I was talking about for my October TBR is Pet Sematary by Stephen King. I am terrified of this book for so many reasons. One, just the thought of Stephen King is intimidating to me, and I don't know why, because I haven't read any of his books, so I have no expectations, but I just imagine that his writing is going to scare me. Not from like a actually scary perspective, but just from a like intimidated, overwhelmed perspective. Obviously also genuinely terrified. This is in theory meant to be his most terrifying book. So whilst I have read a couple of horrors in my time and I've generally enjoyed the feeling that it evokes in me, I'm still a bit on edge because this could be a whole different ball game. Also, the font and like the formatting is just, the font is small, Paragraphs are huge, so I'm worried it'll feel like a slog, but I'm guessing obviously if it is as gripping and as terrifying as it's supposed to be, then it won't be a problem. But just the fact that like there are so minimal page breaks sometimes, like, yeah, I'm scared. And then I also picked up Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. This I've read half of. However, I need to figure out where that actually equates to in this book. Oh, okay, I think I just did it. Because I read the first half, which was just about them as kids, and I just didn't realise when I borrowed the book then that it was just the childhood part of the story. And when I finished it, because I kind of know what happens in this book, there's plenty of spoilers and pop culture and all sorts of things that I've watched, so I kind of know what happens to certain characters, but I kind of finished it and I was like, huh, well obviously a bunch of the things that I know to happen haven't happened, and obviously I didn't realise they were just children the whole time until I realised that actually they're not. There is a whole other half to the story where they're grown up. So I've re-borrowed a different version from the library to hopefully read the second part of them as adults, but I wanted to recap on this because I mean I read it this year but my memory is a little bit hazy. And then in regards to the charity shopping, I was so impressed with what I found today. Unfortunately, a lot of the things I was impressed at I had already read. I was just shocked to still see them in a charity shop so soon. I personally only came out with The Wake Up Call by Beth O'Leary. This is the only book from her that I haven't read yet. It's a bit battered, you know, it's really cracked on the spine. There's like creases on it, but it was £1 and I just thought, I want to read this. Since this is the only book I haven't read from her, I thought let's get to it before her next one comes out. Again, not on an immediate TBR, but hopefully I'll get to it maybe before the year ends, maybe early next year, something like that. But yeah, in regards to the books that I saw one that I was really shocked at was Reckless by Lauren Roberts. Was in one of the charity shops and like for £1, and it looked in pristine condition. Like, you're kidding, that literally came out 2 months ago. And like, who's putting that in a charity shop? Like, oh my gosh. What else? I also saw like Tessa Bailey books, Colleen Hoover. There was a Christina Lauren, which I would have picked up, but that is the only book by her that I do already own, so I couldn't. But it's annoying because it was a nicer cover of it, so I feel like maybe I could have just bought it anyway for like 50p and just had the nicer cover. But just stumble into them when you're out and about shopping, guys, because likelihood is you won't come out of anything, but there's also a chance that you're going to find some real good hidden gems. And not only is it just obviously a bargain for you, like paying 50p or £1 or £2 for a book that you want to read, but it's also just so wholesome knowing that that money is going to an important cause. So it's literally a win-win situation for like everyone involved. So yes, definitely this is your PSA to double check your charity shops. I've also still been listening to the audiobook for Fourth Wing. I'm only a couple of chapters in now, but it's definitely sparking some things back up in my brain again, which is so exciting. And I also finished Belladonna when I was in the car earlier when it was all gloomy. So check back soon for a reading vlog where I'll be talking all about my thoughts and feelings about it. I am going to start colouring at some point. I thought about colouring and maybe putting a Harry Potter film on because, well, either Harry Potter or I might just keep watching Gilmore Girls, to be fair, because I just have it on the background all the time. I'm obsessed with Gilmore Girls this time of year and I always end up having it finished by November, so that's probably gonna happen again. I'm already more than halfway through the series, so. But yes, I did think about doing a colouring page. There's a couple of like Halloween style pages in the Bobby Goods colouring book, so I thought it would just feel really nice and cozy to do one of them. So you've got, I think I might do this one maybe, where they're going through their trick or treat candy. Don't think there's any like autumnal ones in here. They are more just Halloween rather than just like fall themed. I mean, although having said that, this one's quite cute. This is a coffee shop, which is really sweet actually. I could do that. That feels very autumnal. Yeah, between now and then we shall see what we get up to, but I'm just living for all the cozy vibes. I've already got my cozy pajama bottoms back on because I adore these. They were from my Boo Basket that Ben made me and they are so comfy and just so vibey and I am obsessed with them. Very proud of my plaid chair. Making little legends and lattes. Hi guys, so I've just been sat editing this video. This is literally the clip you would have just seen, and I'm gonna call it a day here. I'm hoping to, once I finish my edit, crack on to reading my next book, which is going to be Assistant to the Villain, which can also just talk about the floppiness of this book. I'm so excited. But yes, I hope you enjoyed this little bookish weekend in the life. These are some of the best weekends for an introverted girly like myself, and hopefully you guys can find some comfort in this as well. I actually come alive in the autumn. October is my favourite month of the entire year. I just never feel so happy and grateful to be alive than I do in October. Everything that I feel like October encompasses, just the aesthetic of October, speaks to me on another level. Who knows, there might be some more cozy vlogs coming your way in the month of October. I always end up planning just fun cozy activities because when else would I want to do them, you know? If you did like this video, please like, comment and subscribe, and I will catch you next week with a brand new video. Bye friends.